Hello, weaklings of planet Earth. It is I, Trazyn the Infinite. I have come to your planet for 2 reasons. 1, to paint all of your Skorpekh destroyers. 2, to drink the blood of former Tropicana CEO Tony Rodeo. That's right, Tony. I know you have Tropicana for blood. Your blood is made out of Tropicana orange juice. Give me that sugar blood. I'm going to take a big cartoon straw and inject it directly into your arteries. Then I will inhale so deep it creates a Tropicana typhoon that levels the earth. Dusk is upon you, Tony. I'm going to put you in a little jar. Necron children will come to my museum and throw water balloons at you like a caged baboon. The children shall laugh as you and your billionaire sugar blood dance for them. Dance for them. They shall laugh, Tony. Dance for us, Tony. Dance, the dance of death.
Here's how I painted my Skorpekh destroyers. Step 1. Find a color scheme. To find a color scheme, spend a full week mixing and matching various colors in the Adobe Kuler color wheel. Then discard all of them and just copy the robot for more games. Also the title sequence from Total Recall. I experimented on some old Necron warriors I had and some of the new Indominus ones as test pieces. I ended up going up something in between these 2 warriors I painted. I mixed equal parts London Gray and black. Is it just called black? Black into my way too nice for me very fancy German airbrush. If you don't have an airbrush, you could probably just dry brush this too. Airbrush makes those nice soft little gradients, but honestly for all the weathering that we're adding at the end, it's kind of a subtle effect. The difference would be a little noticeable, but if you're a salt of the earth kind of man, the humble brush of the people, the common dry brush will be more than enough for today's purposes. Next step, airbrush and or dry brush London Gray. No black this time. Gradients like weathering are a great way into tricking people into thinking that you're much better at painting than you actually are. The eye is lazy and attracted to contrast. With multiple shades of color on the same area of the model, it looks way better. That's why when you dunk your model in a tub of agrax earthshade, everyone looks like this. I used some super watered down black to make the dark areas even darker. And before doing any details that might accidentally get covered up, I mixed these 3 together to base coat one of the messiest areas of the model. The base. Again, I use an airbrush for this step, but if you don't have an airbrush, mixing these 3 together in your mouth with some Tropicana orange juice and spraying it everywhere by making a sound will work just as well. I started adding edge highlights with London Gray, but for the amount of time it takes, I don't think it's really worth it on these guys, considering how many Necron models I'm going to have to paint ultimately for this army, and I want them all to match. So for the rest of them, I dry brushed a little bit of London Gray mixed with Skull White, and it looks just as good, if not better, and takes like 1/10 the amount of time. I used some Citadel Poor Boy's Secret cheat code next, and I put it over some of the dark gray areas just to break up the model from being one color. In the 4th edition Necron Codex, it's revealed that red is every Necron's favorite color, after Trazyn the Infinite finds a 1993 Care Bears coloring book to add to his museum, and colors the whole thing with the blood of Rush Limbaugh. To represent this, I airbrushed all of their weapons with Mephiston red. And just like before, if you don't have an airbrush, you could probably dry brush their weapons instead with the blood of Rush Limbaugh. Other red gets airbrushed on top. Nice. Red. Oh, I dry brushed their, or not dry brush, fuck me, edge highlighted their weapons with some other orange, I don't know, I got a bunch of oranges, we'll say Troll Slayer orange, it was probably Troll Slayer orange. Nice. Take some, styrofoam stepdad, or I mean, septum piercing senpai, serotonin simp, and apply it in the recesses of their face. And I used Wraithbone to do some highlights. I did a second highlight layer of white on top after that, and then I painted their chest and the eyes in the same way that I painted the swords. I dry brushed the base with Poo Poo Pee Pee, and at some point painted all the rivets with Gehenna's gold. The lighter dry brush on the base with What the fuck? You shop T-bone. You could paint the base rim and stop here if you wanted to, but I like my boys sturdy. For this next step, you could either take some satin varnish, apply it to the model, and put the pigment on it while it's still wet, or mix the powder with pigment fixer, then put that on the model and let it dry, followed by a coat of varnish later from a spray can. I started by putting this color in the base. I'm not sure if Secret Weapon still makes it, but I'm sure someone somewhere makes something pretty similar. After that, I used clay brown to try and blend it in with the base. First color was pretty dark, and this made it look a little bit more natural. I used this dark steel weathering powder. It's so sick. I love this stuff. It's really good for making black armor look a little bit shiny without having to commit to using like a whole metallic paint to dry brush on. And then just mix a little bit with pigment fixer and put it around the edges. I used a plain old mechanical pencil to add some really fine scratches of graphite around the armor, focusing on the edges and any areas where it makes sense that there would be a little bit of battle damage. Gave the edge of the base a slightly heavier dry brush of shop T-bone just to make it stand out. I've shown these pigment pencils off in a couple of videos now. Yeah, they're just great for doing little chipping effects at the end. Tried to mostly focus on using them around the feet because that's where the most dirt would be, but I also put some around selectively just where I thought like the black could use a little bit of color for variety, and also where I thought I'd put too much weathering powder down to try and help blend it in with the armor. And after painting the base rim black and sealing the model with a couple coats of semi-gloss varnish, that was basically it. Adding some shrubs or little dead plants here might be cool. The ones that I want have not come in the mail yet though, and I don't want to wait a month for them to arrive from the Ukraine to make this video, so here it is. Thank you for coming. These are my Necrons. There will be more videos featuring them. They are not orcs, but I still love them. I feel like this video would be cool if you commented and or subscribed. And I've got a Patreon and a little PayPal tip jar too, which I'll put in the video description. Thanks for coming by.